Welcome to Anchored Not Anxious. This is where you discover anchoring practices for anxiety and worry, gain a deep trust in God, and develop an internal peace by living off His Word. I'm Terry Hutchinson, your host. The monster fires in the California mountains are scary and mesmerizing. The power of fire is like a virus. It spreads and becomes more intense. It takes only a spark to start a raging blaze. What if something like fire could consume your worry, just as an actual fire consumes anything in its path? Well, strap on a backpack of reckless and ruthless. I lived reckless and ruthless for a short time in my life without God. You can imagine how that turned out. But reckless and ruthless in tandem with God is a whole different kind of living. Being reckless looks like this. A bleeding woman, ceremonially unclean and labeled an outcast, goes out into a large crowd, though it's prohibited. She worked her way through the people to touch Jesus' clothes. She didn't think Jesus would notice, but he did. Now she is exposed for being in public and for taking healing power from the Lord. Being ruthless looks like Paul's attitude in 2 Corinthians. Paul writes of his hardships in beatings, imprisonments, and riots, in hard work, sleepless nights, and hunger, having nothing and believing he possessed everything. Both were reckless and ruthless in their trust in God, believing he cared, saw, heard, and knew. Worry interrupts, intrudes, and disturbs our peace and focus. What if worry could be consumed, overtaken by something more powerful than it? Sounds like a reckless, ruthless faith fire is needed. What will it take to ignite a fire like that? Doesn't take much. Remember that verse? Faith as small as a mustard seed has the power to move a mountain? Yeah. Just place your meager faith on a figurative woodpile and ask God to ignite it. Colossians 1:11 says, God strengthens with all power according to his glorious might, so you may have great endurance and patience. It's a working power from God into your heart, mind, and soul. A working, active power. Now, if you're still weighing whether, I don't know if I want to put that much faith in God, his power, then you're basically letting worry have the last word. Worry consumes your mental energy. It creates an emotional imbalance. Worry is a thief, and you have to be bold, loud, and confront it. Prayer is fuel for a faith fire. Pour out a prayer in faith, strength, and endurance. This activates a reckless, ruthless faith. The Apostle Paul saw his disciple Timothy struggling with trust, so he gave Timothy a call to action. Fan into flame the gift of God, Timothy, which is in you through the laying on of my hands. For the Spirit God gave you does not make you timid, but gives you power, love, and self-discipline. Your ruthless faith looks for God working day to day within you, in others, or in the situation. Worry wants you looking at the outcome you want or think should happen. But faith is concerned with what, where, when, how God is present. No one can predict the future, including worry. A reckless faith asks God for the impossible, knowing nothing is impossible for God. You hope for the best possible outcome
while releasing any expectations. Your faith is not tied to the outcome. In other words, whatever happens, your faith is not conditional. You lay it before God based on what you know to be true of God. All of these actions maintain your faith fire. Does your trust in God act like a fire? It's okay if it doesn't. Faith and trust is a process of developing a history with God. A history that reminds you He was with you then, He'll be with you now. In my life, there is a situation that I've prayed about for 3 years. 3 years, I have contemplated all sorts of scenarios that do not end well. Yet, these individuals that I've prayed for have not experienced any of those imagined scenarios. Of course, over the 3 years, my requests have been tweaked, and I've changed these to focus on what is happening to sustain them, rather than what is not happening that could devastate them. Jeremiah prayed to God, telling him that God's word was like a fire in his heart and could not be contained. He said he can't help but let it affect what he thinks and believes. This is what I pray for you. A fire in your heart that burns with trust in God. And it's a prayer you can pray for yourself. Thank you for listening. I hope you'll watch my YouTube channel, Anchored Not Anxious, for special videos. My website is up and waiting for your visit. Go to anchorednotanxious.com and sign up for the twice-a-month care letter, find resources. I'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment wherever you listen. Check the website for email and Facebook contacts. Until next time.